Ladies and gentlemen, Washington, D.C. and worldwide, WLDS Radio and Phone Homie proudly present the Slab Hour. Make some noise!
What up? It's Scrogger with the Scrogger. Listen Vision Studios, listenvisionlive.com.
A shrimp and crab infused cheesy quesadilla.
Harvest these plants here.
Looking very green up here. I like it.
Thank you. Yes.
Annual National Cannabis Fest.
No, it was so much fun.
It was fun.
It's about guaranteeing people's liberty.
We growing good, we smoking good, and we eating good here in the District of Cannabis.
Hey, everybody. I am Jeremy Beaver, CEO and founder of Listen Vision Studios and listenvisionlive.com. You are tuned in right this second to District Spotlight. And man, do I have an incredible show tonight. Maybe you're guessing from that cannabis video you just saw that I might have some sort of cannabis theme today. Well, guess what? You'd be right. Because today I have Patrick Docherty from Cloud N. They make these. I bet you'd like to know what that is. It's kind of the newest, hottest tech tool for cannabis. And if you stay tuned, okay, in just a few minutes, we're going to have Patrick on the show. And he has invented something that is absolutely groundbreaking and is going to change the cannabis industry probably forever. Okay, so I always like to tease people in the beginning. Thank you again for tuning into District Spotlight. I like to tease people, and I like to give them a little bit of taste of, the hip-hop museum here at Listen Vision. Look what I got today. Do you guys remember Rex in Effect Rump Shaker? Well, whether you do or if you don't, it's a really kind of special track, not just because it epitomizes, kind of early 90s commercial hip-hop, but because it debuts the writing talents of someone you may have heard of. In fact, I wasn't even really aware of this, so this is knowledge on me too. Go ahead, let's open this little portable turntable, Jacob. We are going to check out Pharrell Williams' first ever writing credit. Right here on District Spotlight. Maybe you recognize this track. Maybe you could turn it up. Maybe I could turn it on. And that would be really fucking helpful.
You are listening to the sounds of WNE Posse.
And put it on 33.
All I wanna do is on my zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. All I wanna do is on my zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. All I wanna do is on my zoom, 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 and a boom, boom.
Couple more seconds.
All I wanna do is on my zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. Check, baby, 1, 2, 3, 4. Check, baby, 1, 2, 3. Check, baby, 1, 2. Check, baby, 1.
It's called the Rump Shaker.
The beach is like sweeter than kid.
Well, you get the picture. Anyways, listen, these records, these are like really special to me. I have actually friends in boarding school where I went to boarding school that probably maybe even recognize these records because I started DJing in high school, and these were some of my first records. Nice and smooth as funky, also hip-hop junkies. All we wanna do is and you. Remember that one? This is like my favorite. This is like my favorite record. I grew up, this is like, I don't know why this has such a special meaning to me. Black Moon's Enter the Stage is like everything to me. Every single song on here, every single beat, every single rhyme. It's incredible. I love these records a lot. And I just wanted to kind of tease you guys with a few of the records that, I kind of came up with and influenced me a lot. So there's the teaser. Coming up after the break, okay, we're going to come back with Patrick Docherty from Cloud N, cloudnllc.com if you want to go check out their nebulizers. But he's going to describe this process, how he came up with this, how he invented this whole thing. If you're excited, if you want to get excited, look at this. Watch this. Oh, my God. It's incredible. No, I'm just kidding. This is a really special technological advancement in the cannabis industry, and we're so lucky enough to have him on, and that he's here in our region. So stay tuned, everybody. You're watching District Spotlight. In just a little bit, we're going to have Patrick Docherty on from Cloud N, and stay tuned. District Spotlight will be right back.
In recent years, the hemp plant has been proven to be anti-inflammatory, antispasmodic, and antibacterial. It can treat depression, traumatic stress syndrome, chronic pain, glaucoma, migraines, multiple sclerosis, Tourette's, nausea, and a host of other ailments without the unwanted side effects of pharmaceutical drugs. Historical evidence shows that the holy anointing oil used by Old Testament Hebrews contained cannabis extract. The early Christians used cannabis as part of their baptismal process. In the 1800s, medical journals published more than 100 articles on the therapeutic use of the drug, then known as cannabis indica or Indian hemp. Cannabis was often prescribed by doctors and was part of every medical bag right through the early part of the century. It was a popular treatment for labor pains, asthma, rheumatism, and nervous disorders. It was even given to cranky babies to get them to stop crying. Queen Victoria, who lent her name to the repressive Victorian era, was also a bit of a pothead. The Queen found that cannabis was the only remedy that helped her painful menstrual cramps. Britannia could rule the waves a lot easier when she was high.
Hey, cranky babies. We're back with Patrick Docherty from Cloud N. Thanks so much for being with us, man.
Yeah, nice to be here, and I'm really glad to be able to communicate our ethos to a lot of the listeners out there. We're really passionate about helping people who smoke, whether it's nicotine or cannabis, and solving a lot of the problems that and pain points that people have.
Well, let's back up. I mean, those are great aspirations, but you chose an interesting medical device that I was actually describing to my colleagues earlier. For anyone that's not familiar with what a nebulizer is, do you want to just give them the layman's definition to what a nebulizer is?
I can go pretty layman on that. So it's the equivalent of if you have a garden hose and you put a pasta strainer over it, and it just shoots through all the little tiny holes. So it's literally like no heat, which means that there's literally no scent, and you literally do not exhale anything.
So it's basically a mist, like a water-based mist.
Yeah, so it's a mist. So not a vapor, it's not an inhaler. It's probably the best delivery method that they use in medical settings.
And, I know the answer to this, but I find it really compelling. What first interested you in even getting into this?
So I've really been passionate about learning why people smoke and the psychology around that. My father smoked cigarettes since he was 13, and he's 59 now. And his dad died of lung cancer. And even when I was a kid, I'd always rip up my dad's cigarettes, try to get him to quit smoking. But it didn't really work. And it was really frustrating to me because I got anxiety whenever I saw him smoking because I knew it's something that literally is killing him. He just got another lung infection about 3 weeks ago, has COPD. Just going through that and experiencing that in my life, I just saw how much smoking affects everybody, not just the people who smoke, but everyone around them.
Yeah.
So I started this to try to get my dad to quit smoking cigarettes, find something that would, take the edge off his stress, take away his anxiety in anywhere he was, without a lot of the same concerns that you have from smoking. So that's really the core of where this business came from, is helping smokers solve their problems with smoking, whether that's their health concerns, their discretion concerns, or any type of things about like being afraid of smoking for cannabis.
And we were talking about how, one of the kind of stigmatizing elements to smoking, whether it's cannabis or cigarettes, is obviously the smoke and the
it's
smell.
Definitely, everybody knows what the smell of weed is. Everyone knows what the smell of cigarette smoke is. So even for people who are using it, for personal use or for medical use, it ends up being something that you're affecting everyone around you because everyone knows right away when you light up that joint that there's a smell. So if you just look right here, when I spray this, it just disappears in the air and there's literally no cannabis scent at all. So this is something you can actually use anywhere actually any time, not just a vape pen, without a lot of the concerns of, am I going to get caught with this? Are my kids going to know that I smoke? Are my family members going to know that I smoke? And you're going to be able to, be a better person, which is what you use cannabis for.
And I think it's interesting. Can we show them the kind of the back? Is it okay if I take that off there?
Yeah. Actually, this one's probably a little bit
more full,
illustrative. So this is a water-based, water and shatter cannabis solution. So there's no propylene glycol, there's no vegetable glycerin. It is cannabis and water. So for a lot of people that use vape pens, a lot of people have concerns about what actually they're getting. This is probably the cleanest method that you can get in terms of the smoothness, and in terms of exactly what you're getting out, because we don't use heat, you don't burn up any terpenes, and you get a nice flavorful smooth hit every single time.
Speaking of flavorful and smooth, let me just tell you, I don't know if you can see this. I'm gonna try to demonstrate it a little better because I just got to make sure it actually works. This is all research and scientific here.
Oh, trust me, there's plenty of that goes on my cloud end.
Oh, Mama Wanna. Look at that.
That's literally
Look at nothing came out of my mouth. I find that interesting. Just so you guys know, if you've ever smelled a citronelle candle, is, I think, similar to what the kind of taste is. It's a little citrusy.
Yeah, I don't even try to pitch the product. I literally just let somebody try it, and they're like,
yeah,
what the heck was that?
It's so, I can't put into words, so I'll just try to let you know. It's so non-smoke like, and even from someone who's used a vaporizer, it's even not even vape like. The closest thing I would say it is almost to like if you were to take one of those spray bottles at the barber shop, and almost like kind of spray a little into your mouth, but just a very fine mist of it.
Yeah, so it's perfect for people that don't want to get don't want to make cannabis an entire event where they don't have to sit down, they don't have to have an hour to roll a J and smoke it, and then if they have kids, like they're not going to be zombies in front of their kids. This is something that is just to fill the gaps in your day when you don't have time to sit down and smoke, and to relieve that stress and get that edge taken off.
Yeah, we were watching the history thing, and we were saying so
you're probably, as the interview goes on, you're going to be a little bit more giggly as we go.
Right. You're going to see my mood just get better and better and better. But it was funny when we saw the history thing. It's like, it's great for menstrual cramps and cranky babies.
Yeah, you just spray,
and Patrick immediately was like,
spray the baby.
Spray the baby. Anyways, no, please don't spray any babies. But one of the one of the newest developments that's happened here in our area, and we're going to throw to a video here in a second, is the legalization of medical marijuana in Maryland, right? It's not recreational. I think it's just medical now.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we actually have a little news clip rather than trying to describe it.
Okay.
The latest dispensary just opened in Frederick, Maryland, which is like literally a stone's throw here from the district. So go ahead. Let's throw to, I think it was like a News Channel 11 little thing. Just yesterday, the dispensary opened in Maryland.
I'm extremely excited.
This man, who does not want to be identified, is technically the first in line to get a prescription filled for medical marijuana. The Wellness Institute of Maryland won the state's first license to dispense plant medicine, even though the product won't be available in Maryland until sometime after Labor Day. This patient, who is certified by the state, wants to use it to help alleviate back pain caused by a herniated disc. He has trouble sleeping, can't sit or stand for long periods of time.
The biggest thing is straying away from the pain medicines, the addictive opioids and stuff like that, and living your life on that is just, it's such a drag, and it's just terrible for your body, and I'm ready to look for an alternative that's a little bit healthier.
The Wellness Institute of Maryland is located in Frederick. Citing security concerns, the company owner asked us not to reveal the address or show the building. The business is open, though, taking pre-orders through an online application or by phone. According to owner Michael Klein, this is not how most patients will use medical marijuana. The medicine will often be in pills, tablets, transdermal patches, lotions, or ingested through vaporizing. Patients certified by the state and who have a doctor's prescription must make an appointment and go through an evaluation before getting the medicine.
But I've seen nothing but benefits from it. I'm excited for Maryland to kind of catch up with the times in that regard, and I think there's a lot of people who could definitely benefit from it.
9,000 patients have registered with the state to purchase medical marijuana. The Wellness Institute of Maryland will operate like a doctor's office. No walk-ins, appointments only. The company is also providing home delivery. The service will cover much of Central Maryland. Reporting live from the newsroom, David Collins, WBAL TV 11 News.
Sorry. Hi. Oh, nothing. We're back. I wasn't doing anything. I'm with Patrick Docherty, Cloud N. Thanks again for being with us, man.
Not a problem.
Thanks for, honestly, I want to probably thank you if you'd be so nice enough, Mr. Real Deal Farms, and share this live stream with the recreational page. The reason why I ask you to do that is because I think guys that have a good heart, okay, and are doing things for the right reasons to help others should be exposed, should get the promotion and the due that they're trying to accomplish. So, for instance, in your case, I think there's a lot of people. I asked them to share our live stream with the with the recreational cannabis page here.
Thank you.
And I only said that simply because I know that our cannabis scene here is tight in a good way, meaning everyone is kind of looking out for everyone else. Mm-hmm. And I think this is the type of product that if we just got the word out to the right people, you would see market saturation. What has been the response when you go and show this to folks? What do they think of it?
I don't even, well, first off, thank you for putting that out there. I first wanted to make a note that I don't really see the line between recreational and medical patients. From listening to literally thousands of smokers talk about, why they use cannabis, what they're trying to get done and their frustrations that they have with cannabis and what can be better. You'll have a medical patient who's getting their cannabis from a dispensary saying that, like, oh, yeah, it helps me fall asleep. It's the only thing I can use to fall asleep. And then you'll talk to somebody who's, 22 years old, right out of college, social smoker their entire life, and they'll use it the exact same way. So I just wanted to preface that of like.
So what's the point of when they're so helpful? What's the point of making distinctions?
When you listen to somebody and you understand exactly what they use cannabis for or what they use cigarettes for, it ends up being that you have a much more meaningful impact on people's lives. So sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack, but that's something that's definitely core to our vision.
That's not a sidetrack. That's actually the main track because right now, people love the catchphrase of the opioid epidemic. They love I think the media just loves to just talk about it without any sort of action or results. What's been your experience with the, pills and opioids in this country?
When I was in 7th grade, I got in a go-karting accident, actually. And it was a very traumatic experience for a lot of my family members as well. I ended up having a liver laceration, and I was in intensive care for about 2 weeks. They sent me home, and then they found out that I had pancreatitis, so they sent me back to stay at the hospital after I thought I was getting home. So it ended up being something that took away the majority of like my 7th grade experience. But when I got out of the hospital, when I was in the hospital, I had, tubes all over me. I was in a neck brace, some that made my mom cry. But when I got home, it ended up being that I developed a dependency to methadone. And, as a kid, crying and saying like, I can't go without, this pain medicine, and having that type of addiction was something that I never want to have to experience again in my life. And I know that so many people have those exact type of experiences, and cannabis is a thing that's helped them solve that problem of getting off of opioids.
I know personally one of my close friends got himself off of opioids, and many of the folks that we know, Corey and I in the cannabis scene here, have been able to use cannabis so positively, not just to get off the opioids. I think that's like the first and greatest thing to happen.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the reasons why a lot of the lawmakers pushed for this, and that was one of the main proponents for why Maryland legalized its program. So we're definitely looking forward to being in the dispensaries in Maryland. There are 103 dispensaries, 15 growers, and 15 processors. They do delivery right down to wherever house you want to get it sent to. And those probably won't be open until late in the fall, which is really unfortunate for a lot of medical patients in Maryland that are waiting for their medicine. But I know just from talking with a lot of patients in D.C. and in Maryland, a lot of people still use D.C. as their hub of getting cannabis for their medical purposes in the Virginia area, in the D.C. area, and in the Maryland area.
You know, opioids and the drug war and, you know, all these things in this country for decades, in a crazy, weird way, I think have actually led to this vibrant and kind of successful cannabis industry because people want a positive alternative.
Mm-hmm. And that's really what the perspective that we take from this is that, like, cigarettes are bad for you, nicotine is bad for you. Smoking cannabis has an impact on the lungs, whether or not whatever the impact is still strongly debated because there hasn't been a lot of research about it, which is really unfortunate. But we like to call this the best way to make a bad decision. It's like if you're gonna smoke, if you need cannabis, if you need nicotine, if you depend on these things to be your daily driver, so you're not a dick to everybody that you know, so that you're just living the best fulfilled life, this is the best way to make a bad decision is to use the nebula.
Don't be a dick. Don't. No dicks allowed. You know, speaking, this is such a random transition. So speaking of, you know, kind of like the drug war and, you know, all these things that have kind of led up to the point that we're at now, you know, one of the things that pops into my head, you know, growing up in New York in the 80s and the 90s, you know, all the guys that were standing on the corner slanging crack, slanging coke or whatnot, you know, they've made a change. Mm-hmm. Okay. And what I'd like to show is actually this video that we did with using Jay-Z's kind of some motivational words from Jay-Z. And Jay-Z talks about how, you know, when people say, oh, you've changed, they say that in a negative way. Mm-hmm. But actually, if you listen to what he's about to say, there's a good aspect to changing because you don't want to be the same guy on the street corner, you know, selling crack. You want to progress and change and grow. And so I'd like to show this little clip that the interns put together. It uses a beat that's available now on our beat bar. The beat was produced by, you know, in-house engineer producer Danny Dank. So come on by and come check out this beat. You can listen to it. But also get you know, enthused about Jay-Z's maturity and the words on his new album where he's talking about legacy and family and love and acceptance and wealth and credit. We get behind those sentiments and we get behind Jay-Z. So check this out. This is Jay-Z over one of our beats from the Beat Bar.
Like, oh, we need you back so we can kill your ass again. You know, it's like this thing, this love, hate thing that the world has with success, period. It deals for the most part with success. It deals with people who you started your life off with and what success does to them. People look at you strange saying you changed, like you worked that hard to stay the same, like you're doing all this for a reason. And what happens most of the time, people change. People change around you because they start treating you differently because of your success. So you are changing. You don't change who you are, the core of who you are, the things you believe, the things you love, and the things you die for, and your principles. You don't change that, but you're going to change who you are. You're going to change. You know, you can't do the same things that you can't hang on the corner. Some people may not be comfortable with.
Can't always hang on the corner, you know. I actually really like what he's saying there because maybe it's not you that's changing. Maybe you're progressing and everyone else around you is changing. Mm-hmm. I find that interesting. Anyways, we love Jay-Z here, and we have a hip-hop museum with the largest collection of hip-hop memorabilia in the country, if not the world. And some weeks we get stuff into the museum, hip-hop, you know, memorabilia and autographed signed pieces. It's been a little light here lately, so we only just got one piece in. But I did want to kind of show everybody because we're really into hip hop. Do you like hip hop at all?
I'm not as much a hip hop guy. I got into DJing a lot. And,
oh, you DJ?
Yeah, I DJ a little bit.
What turntables, controllers?
Turntables.
Yeah. Vinyl turntables?
Not always.
CD turntables?
It's mostly I won't get into it.
All right.
Because then you're gonna want me to come on the show later and be like,
well, I actually like
featuring Patrick Docherty.
I like the fact that you were like, well, I'm not really a big hip-hop head, but I did get into DJing lately, and I feel like that's kind of almost proving my point. So
I'm a drummer, so you naturally get into a lot of beats and shit.
So that makes sense to you.
Yeah, my mom's a drummer, too. Yeah, my mom's a librarian at an elementary school.
And a drummer.
Yes, and a drummer in about 7 different bands.
Yo, I'm trying to have your mom on next.
Yeah, I know. Trust me.
Wow.
When I see my friends, they're like, "Yo, hey Patrick, how's your mom doing?" Not even like, "Hi Patrick, how are you doing?" Like that's the type of reaction that I get.
Shut up about my mom. Well, listen, this is like the latest thing we got in. We actually got this in from it's from New York. I actually think it's from England. I'm right.
Yeah,
by
like
way of New York. Anyways, from England. We got this in. Go ahead, let's zoom in on this. Hey You, the Rocksteady Crew. And we got Prince Ken Swift, Crazy Legs, Baby Love. I can't read that next one. Bucky and Kuraki. Well, there we go. Breakdancers. Anyways, this is cool. Actually, this is a Rocksteady Crew. So, the Rocksteady Crew and Crazy Legs, were really big back in the 80s in breakdancing and really illustrative stuff. Anyways, I was really curious to hear what this was going to sound like. So let's see what I have it on, I swear. All right, here we go. What do we got? This is called Hey You. Thank you.
Are you ready? Digital.
Yep. 2 white boys just did the worm. That's
Hey, show what you do. Make a break, make a move. Hey, you, the Rocksteady Crew. B-boys break 'cause they let you boogie.
shit got weird in here, man. Shit got really weird.
It wasn't my fault.
I don't know what you guys are thinking. I like that.
I'll blame
I
it
like
on
that.
the
Can we
nebula.
hear the beginning again? I feel like, because I didn't have it on 45. This is a pretty...
It sounded better with the...
chopped and screwed. Hold on, listen. Going in the collection. Going in the collection. Going in the collection. Okay.
Yeah, that one's... I'll save that and put it as my ringtone.
Let's nebulize.
Okay.
Shall we? Shall we? We're nebulizing. Oh, God. There's nothing to breathe out. I keep trying to, breathe smoke.
You can see it a little bit better in the background.
That's dope. That's dope. That's a
you
slab hour reference. The nebula. So they do a slab minute. Is it called the slab minute? The slab minute. Okay, that was our nebula second.
Hey, and you can do that anytime, anywhere.
But once you got the concept with the water, the infusing the water, how did you then define a? That
wasn't actually where the first thing came about. We first started with the idea of having a nebulizer deliver. I write little thank you notes to everybody who buys them.
Oh, you're the sweetest. I love this guy. This guy's so
you gotta
nice.
have
It even has hearts on
personal
it.
touch
Look.
on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Keep talking.
Sorry. Okay.
Where did you find the design?
So my co-founder is an absolute genius. Teaches himself literally anything in no time at all. So he taught himself how to build this circuit when he didn't even know what a circuit was. Didn't even know what the laws that govern electricity, and built this circuit in less than 2 weeks. So it ended up being that my co-founder vapes, and he was always frustrated with replacing his wicks and coils. And I had the same passion for learning about why people smoke. And so we developed this as a way for people to smoke. And it just happened to be that, we got to the point of where we have a functional device that people are leaning over a bag of circuitry to take a hit off of it. And it's like, well, shoot, we can't use what other people use. We can't use tinctures. We can't use any type of propylene glycol. We're not going to use any vegetable glycerin. We need to use something different that's going to be...
Why didn't you want to use those?
Because those aren't... A lot of them are, food grade, but we wanted to deliver people only the best quality products. We don't want people ingesting propylene glycol and ingesting vegetable glycerin because it's not It's not exactly bad for you, but it's not exactly good for you either.
Right.
So we literally only wanted to give people exactly what they want. People who want nicotine. They don't want propylene glycol and vegetable glycerin. So we gave them nicotine and water. For people that want cannabis, they don't want propylene glycol and they don't want vegetable glycerin. They want cannabis and water. Like, they don't want water, but it's the best way to carry it.
So you're just trying to simplify the process and try to work out some of the bugs.
It's not even that. It's like we wanted to deliver the cleanest delivery method out there and something that people would feel confident about using and wouldn't feel that they were doing something bad every single time they did it. Now, nicotine still isn't good for you, so this product isn't good for you. It's not going to help you quit. It's not going to help you quit smoking, but it's going to be something that fills the gaps in your day when you can't smoke.
Yeah, and also maybe wean yourself off of cigarettes.
A lot of people try to do that with vapes. I tried to do that with my dad, but it just doesn't emulate the experience of smoking a cigarette, like holding it in your hand, having the oral fixation. And people say the same exact thing about smoking a J. And that's not what we're trying to replace. We're trying to say, like, okay, when you can't vape or when you can't smoke, this is something you can use. And then you're not going to be stressed out. You're not going to be, like I said, a bad person to everyone else around you for no reason.
Right. And you know what country agrees with you?
What country agrees with me?
Israel.
Okay.
Jacob, run that kosher cannabis video. We got... No,
We're on the streets of Tel Aviv watching a guy smoke marijuana. Not the illegal kind, but medical marijuana. Call it kosher cannabis. Its growing usage and the country's liberal medical cannabis laws have made Israel one of the world leaders in medical cannabis research and development.
Cannabis until now was not bred in the most scientific or most modern methods.
In a secret, secure location in northern Israel, we visit Tikkun Olam, one of the country's largest medical cannabis growers. They show us what they call their mother house, the genetic warehouse of cannabis, where they splice together different plants to create new strains of cannabis. They're pushing the plant to its extremes. Some strains have some of the highest levels of THC ever grown, the chemical that makes you high. Others have none at all. They're high in CBD, the chemical that's been shown to have medical benefits.
I believe that we are seeing the beginning of the world of the knowledge about cannabis plants.
Each new cannabis harvest is lab tested to measure the exact levels of chemicals. The goal, to one day create marijuana plants tailored for specific treatments and maybe even specific people.
Israel is right on the cusp of being able to grab hold of this entire industry and become the real mecca for marijuana research.
In Israel, the politician encouraging this revolution of medical cannabis is the ultra-Orthodox Minister of Health.
If I have to look strictly how I can help the people, sick people which need this cannabis, as I think I did the right thing.
Exporting cannabis is still illegal, so Tikkun Olam has started joint ventures with farms in America to grow strains of cannabis developed in Israel. The medical cannabis market is expected to hit more than $20 billion in America alone by 2020, according to newly released numbers from industry researchers New Frontier.
We're standing here in front of a number of the oils and different types of cannabis you sell. How big can this be as an export business?
It could be a business of hundreds of millions of dollars.
Medical cannabis still has its critics, and doctors say global regulations make cannabis research difficult. Cannabis advocates insist the science will back up the usage and turn this once illicit drug into a blooming market. Oren Lieberman, CNN, Tel Aviv.
Hello and welcome back. I hope you like the kosher. I'm Jewish. I can do that.
I've never heard someone pronounce cannabis like that. What do you say? Cannabis? Cannabis.
Cannabis. I liked it. He made it sound really exotic. Israel is really ahead of the times. And let me just tell you my own personal story with this. I have a family member, a very close relative of mine who has a very young son who unfortunately has a brainstem glioma.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a type of very serious brainstem tumor. And as a result, he and I, when finding this diagnosis out, did an incredible amount of research, and I went to every single person I knew, and I read every single article I could read, and he and I actually both came to the same conclusion, and thank God we did. and he moved his family from where he was in his state out to Denver, Colorado, and put his son into basically, I don't know why you'd call it experimental, but the experimental Israeli cannabis program at the Children's Hospital in Denver. And I'm pleased to report that they have reduced the tumor with the use of cannabis oil and a little radiation by over 30% already. And this is a very, very young child.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that with me. It ends up being that, like, you know, hearing a lot of people talk about it like that and seeing the impact that it has on loved ones especially.
It's moving it forward.
Yeah.
That's what's moving it forward. Your love for your father, my love for my relatives, everyone's love for everyone is what's moving this movement forward. You know, and gone are the days of, you know, the stereotype of the lazy pot smoker and, you know, and all the kind of negative things that we've been told that pot does. You know, nowadays, if you really just do, not even a lot, just functional stoner, okay? And even the word stoner, I actually am not really even in love with either. Yeah. So one of our audience members is holding up a sticker that says functional stoner. But, you know, I think really what we're trying to get at is that the misinformation about this plant has been so pervasive that it has actually stopped our own ability to use it in tremendously positive ways to cure people, to help people, and to end some of the addictions and epidemics that are currently happening. Mm-hmm. What do you think the future of medical cannabis looks like?
I think the first thing that people should expect is that you stop getting the implied that it's medical use or recreational use. And I know that sounds probably something that you probably haven't heard a lot of, but I mentioned it previously. I think it is really a social change more than it is a change in technology. And that's really the perspective that we take, is that it's a social change. It's not that weed has gotten much better over the last 100 years. I mean, of course it has, as you just experienced today.
Right.
But
it's looking past you as you're talking to me. Sorry, I'm listening.
It's really about the social implication of, like, somebody being able to use this out in a public space and it being seen
more acceptable.
More acceptable. I mean, it even is the same thing. It's kind of the opposite of somebody smoking a cigarette. You know, cigarette smoking was so commonplace, and now even if somebody lights up at a park in, like, a smoking area, everyone gives them a nasty glare. So I think that there's going to be a change in the perspective of people that use cannabis for their own personal use and to do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah. That's where we're at with things, you know, the cannabis industry.
And of course, that, you know, a lot more widespread use across the U.S. I'm not as confident that we're going to see a fast federal legalization, but it is very pervasive in our society now. About 7% of the U.S.
What are we at, 27, 30 states now?
Yeah.
Corey, how many states we got? 28 states.
Yeah, 28 in D.C. So
there you go. 28 in D.C. That's like a lot.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm saying, like, I always take the conservative perspective that, like, it could stop any day.
It could stop any day.
Trump's agenda, you know.
Right. And it's just the states that are taking this initiative, not the federal government.
Yeah, but if you have the federal government step in at any time, it's like, you know, it's still going to cause a lot of backlash from a lot of states, but the federal government has that say. It's an unpopular opinion, but at the end of the day, the federal government can do whatever the heck it wants.
You know who I smoked weed with like 2 months ago? You'll never believe this.
I have no idea.
Talib Kweli, the rapper. It's a true story. It's a true story.
How'd that happen? Was it like a planned event where you like...
No.
Yes.
Yes.
So you Facebook messaged him? Or
No. He was
here. Like,
hey, dude, what you doing this afternoon?
No, trust me. He was people tweeting, like, they'll be like, oh yeah, I saw this celebrity, and they tweeted me back like 10 minutes later. Like,
he was actually in D.C. and we actually did an interview with him over at a pizza restaurant. And the reason why I bring up smoking weed with Talib Kweli, because you know who he smoked weed with? Biggie and Tupac.
So
Jacob, am I lying?
So by reference, you've smoked with Biggie and Tupac.
By like that mathematical equation where like this times that equals this thing over here. Yeah, absolutely. The reason why I'm saying all these weird random things is because we just got together a new Mos Def. So Mos Def and Talib Kweli together are Most High Audience, Black Star. You guys suck. You guys literally suck. It's all right. I'm so sorry.
They're gonna need to take a couple hits of the neb.
Caught them off guard.
Dap.
Is dead silence. Anyways, Talib Kweli, Mos Def, they make Black Star. Yay, awesome shit. So what we just did, because we do this for our museum, is we find these total hip hop legends, and we find them rapping in the park, sitting at a table, like in the 80s, in the 90s, like just freestyling out. And what we do is we take that video and we remix it to the beats on our beat bar.
Oh, that's dope.
Okay, to kind of show the beats that we have.
That's so dope.
So what we did is we found Mos Def in like 92, I don't know, rapping in Central Park. Okay?
Okay.
Then we had the interns chop it all up,
that's perfect job for
remix
interns.
it to one of our own new beats, right,
Okay.
on the beat bar,
Yeah.
available now,
Yeah.
and then sync it back to his vocals. It was the video. Does this all make sense?
Yeah.
If it doesn't make sense, fucking run that video. Check this shit out.
Listen vision, listen vision, DC's #1 recording studio.
Brown skin, I be standing 5'10", I be rocking it when I be in your vicinity. Porn style synergy, recognize symmetry. Go outside the engine me, broke them down chemically. Ain't the number 10 MC, talking about how when I be. Styled it like Kennedy, late like a 10 to 3. When I say when I be, girls say when I key, cause way out like Tennessee, take me to a place called the BK without pause or delay. Get run like pin relay, don't deal with he say, she say. Ain't working for no cheap pay. That beat play, this is what the streets say. Hey, Mr. DJ, play that double Mogan. That jam got me open. This side of break it broken. From front, side to side, middle to back. Never the whack. I come from Bed-Stuy Black. From Louis AVE to be exact. Brooklyn!
Listen vision, listen vision.
All right, Patrick liked that.
Yeah,
Yay!
that's something I would jam out to. That was something I would jam out
Cool.
to in my car.
Cool.
Just
So
like-
I'm glad you like that, because I'm always so concerned that like folks that don't understand what we're trying to do, they won't understand it. But what'd y'all think? Was that all right? That was dope, right? Timing
Yeah,
was
I
impeccable.
gonna-
Thank you.
I was
Thank
gonna
you.
say you picked the right artist.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, Ahuff, one of our other interns, we're going to play her Big L remix in a little bit. And I know that she's working diligently and hard to resync our Gangstar Guru one, which she also did. Anyways, all right, enough of that. So, what I know about nebulizers is this, okay? If you have, I'm sorry, I'm going to just kind of show the people this. If you have asthma, I am pretty sure that the reason why they prescribe you to use a nebulizer is because the medicine for asthma needs to be delivered to the capillaries of your lungs, right? Am I right about this?
Yeah, it needs deep lung penetration.
Deep lung
so it gives you a
penetration.
lot better absorption.
A lot better absorption.
So this specific type of nebulization, though, isn't the typical type of nebulization. So this actually gets you a uniform particle size. So literally every single droplet is the exact same size, which means that you get much better absorption than you would from a typical nebulizer.
That's
so,
dope.
Like,
That's
just
dope.
saying that, like,
Well,
this is like
Oops.
next gen.
And like, how easy is this? Like, look at this. This is the filling tool. Okay, I just want to show people because I want to get them excited. Go, literally, you guys, if you're online right now, because I know you're fucking watching this, you're online, right?
It comes with a cute little carrying case,
Oh my
too.
god! Oh my god! Look at that. That's dope. All right, so listen, this is what you do, right? Let's show them. Okay. First of all, go to cloudnllc.com right now while we're talking.
So we're a nebulizer and newsletter company. So we like to inform people, about upcoming events. Educate the public about the uses for cannabis and the uses for nicotine. So we have two options in our shop that come with free cartridge gifts. We have the newsletter, which is like the classic, I would like to learn a little bit more about cannabis use, and we deliver anywhere in DC.
What if-
Anywhere in DC.
So
and if you want to use it for nicotine, we can ship anywhere you'd like to use.
All right. I hope you listen to that. If you're here in the district, look at this. I don't know how much easier they can make this for you. Okay, they deliver the newsletter to you, for free with your refills. Okay, look. I'm not gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it.
You pay for the newsletter and we gift the free cartridge.
Right. You hear that? You
Yeah.
pay for the newsletter. They give you the cartridge.
So you just open up that and
look
you
at that.
just fill it up with the water-based solution, and that's it.
What happens if I drink this?
It is extremely potent in edibles.
Can I make an edible with the solution that's in here?
Of course.
Are you listening to what I just figured out?
This ends up being something that it doesn't bake off. It'll get you baked, but it won't bake off.
Wait. Okay. I think that's good. I think that's a good thing.
So
that's incredible because I think what do they call
got
it?
all this mess here now.
Necessity.
Thanks,
I'm so
Jeremy.
sorry. I've taken it all apart. Necessity is the mother of invention. Okay. So what I think is interesting is that he had his own bout with opioids. He has his own father who smokes cigarettes. He has his own brain that innovated the industry. So what do you think if I'm like a smoker, let's say I'm like 30, because I feel like right now, the people who smoke cigarettes, you got your 30 or 40-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
They've been smoking for 5, maybe 10 years.
More people have started smoking ever since they were like 16 or 13, which is pretty crazy. But that's
pretty crazy.
That's the harsh
How do
reality.
people get into cigarettes at 13 like your dad?
It's not that smoking looks cool. It's that smokers look cool. My dad's father smoked cigarettes, and same with his mother. So really learning about the psychology, it's like smoking isn't cool, but smokers look cool when they smoke.
Right.
So that's ends up being a lot
And
of
there's
the
a
reason why
social
people start.
aspect of many people drink and then smoke.
Yeah, and that ends up being the fastest way to strike up a conversation with meeting new people.
Yeah, hey, can I
and
bum a
people
cigarette
say,
off you?
"Yeah, can I bum a cigarette off of you?" And they're all standing outside of a club,
Yeah.
and you just start striking
Yeah.
up conversations with everyone.
Yeah,
and those are the great parts about smoking. Smoking should be enjoyable.
Social.
Smoking should be a relaxing experience that you love to do, and it probably is for a lot of people right past 420 today. But getting rid of those negative things that like you don't want to inconvenience other people, and you just want to solve your own problems. It's like it's just such a crappy experience for so many people.
I also love how proactive you were about this. I'm meeting Patrick for the first time, and I'm just kind of really taken with his attitude. He's got a great attitude. He's a smart
Thank
kid. And I want to show them a little bit more about, because we're running out of time, a little bit about the history of the medical side of marijuana here in the United States. Jacob, we have a, not the history one, but like a medical kind of one video. Yep, marijuana and Western medicine. Let's run that so you can get a little background knowledge.
About.
The oldest book that we have of pharmacopoeia, which is a collection of drugs and their uses, is from China. And in that book, they've discussed the use of marijuana for the treatment of rheumatism, menstrual cramps, even forgetfulness. And there's even like another book called the Ebers Papyrus from Egypt, and some people say that's even older, and that also mentions marijuana. But if you go to the modern times, like Western medicine that we have today, it really wasn't until the 1830s, 1840s that marijuana, or cannabis as it was called at that time, made its entrance. There was a Western doctor named O'Shaughnessy, Dr. O'Shaughnessy, who was an Irish physician who actually, as a medical student, discovered the treatment of cholera by giving people intravenous fluids, hydration, which saved a lot of lives. And then he went to India and laid down telegraph lines across the country and was knighted. But in the meantime, in the midst of all that, he learned from local healers about this cannabis medicine, and was able to show that it could be used for tetanus and epilepsy, even rabies he was experimenting with. And he published his results and brought cannabis back with him to England, to the United Kingdom, and really it picked up like wildfire. A lot of doctors were using it in their medicines. Even Queen Victoria's doctor, Dr. Reynolds, prescribed it to Queen Victoria for her menstrual cramps. in the United States, from the 1830s to the 1940s, for 100 years, it was in our pharmacopoeia, our official United States book of approved drugs. Lots of companies like Merck and Eli Lilly that you've heard of today, and companies that don't exist today, had cannabis or marijuana-based medicines that they produced and they put on pharmacy shelves. And at that time, they used it for the treatment of cramps and pain. Some of the things that we still use know marijuana is useful for today. But because of the politics and reefer madness and all of the issues around, also other newer drugs coming on the scene, marijuana kind of fell out of favor and is really now experiencing a resurgence.
Yep, a resurgence. Here is the resurgence. It has resurged. Listen, let's talk some stats here real quickly. Tell me, because, we're hopefully coming off of eventually the cigarette and tobacco industry. Tell me the size of the tobacco industry.
A lot of people really wouldn't expect this, but there's 7.4 billion people in the in the world. About 1 billion people worldwide smoke cigarettes.
Shit.
Literally almost a seventh of
That's
the entire
fucking
world
crazy.
smokes cigarettes.
1 billion people smoke cigarettes. There's 7 billion people in the world?
Yeah, and to put that in comparison, about 147 million people use cannabis worldwide.
How many?
147 million.
Oh, wow, that's not even close.
It's not even close. And
do the money. You said the money.
So the money for this, cigarette companies, the top 6 are $871 billion, growing 8% year on year. And cannabis in the U.S. is only about 6.8, growing about 25% year on year. So literally $871 billion are in cigarettes.
The number that I actually took note of was a growth of 25%, because I actually think that's a low estimate of the cannabis industry. I actually think that the cannabis industry presents so much opportunity, not just because of its high rate of growth, but because the products...
The rapid expansion of the market.
Exactly.
So it's like within these markets, they're expanding at 25%, but as soon as a new market opens up, it's like,
bam,
boom, now you have in
Yeah.
Cali, you have nearly 40 million people.
Yeah. And there's all new types of cannabis industries popping up. I just saw the first ever high-end cannabis store in Seattle, Washington. I don't know if Corey saw
Luxury?
that. It was a most expensive store in the state. It is a luxury cannabis store, and when I tell you, I mean, the first legal state was Washington, and this is the most expensive store in the first state, in that first state. Go check it out. It's really kind of cool. Before we run out of time, where are you going to be this week?
So tonight, about probably looking at around 7 o'clock to midnight, I'm going to be outside of El Rey on U Street.
Outside where? El Rey?
El Rey on U Street.
Okay.
So I just want to be able to talk to people. I'd love to hear your story, your specific story. I'd love to just have a conversation with you, learn exactly why you use cannabis, and just hear frustrations of maybe your loved ones or your family members.
Can people buy a nebulizer from you right there?
Yeah, but the other venues I'm going to be at are going to be, I'm probably going to go to Not Chalice on Saturday.
There's an event called Not Chalice?
Yes, there's
That's
an event
kind of
called
hilarious.
Not
For
Chalice.
all of us who couldn't afford Chalice, because it's like $1 zillion, and I'm married. Sorry. Oh, I'm not bitter.
Yeah, so I'm going to be at Not Chalice down in Adams Morgan on Saturday. And then on Sunday, I'm going to be at Elroy on 8th Street from 1 to 7, and then I'm going to be at the XO Lounge from 8 to 2. But I'd love, even if you don't, I don't care if you want to buy the product. I started this because this is the fastest way for me to have an impact on the largest amount of people. And I just want to be able to hear your story and figure out how I can help you, even if it's not with my own product. If it's just, emotional support, just being there, like connecting you with things that you need. That's really the perspective that we take.
Man, maybe I'm like listening to you right now, and I'm thinking maybe somewhere down the line, you and I should talk about shooting like some vignettes with these people who tell you their stories. Because the thing that I found most compelling people are willing to tell their story. You just have to be willing to listen. Like a lot of people just start pitching to people and be like, "Hey, I have the coolest product," and it's like, well, no, you don't have the coolest product because you're not helping anyone. Right.
I just like listening to people say that they've literally stopped smoking weed because of, and only use this exclusively. People that have cut down their cigarette consumption by 50% the day after they get this product. This isn't a smoking cessation device. This is something that also delivers nicotine. But I just like being able to have those type of impactful, in-depth stories and getting to know you to that type of level.
And just so you know, guys, like, I don't know if you can like look at me or see how I'm functioning right now. I've definitely taken about like 4 or 5 hits, and I got to be really honest because I'm full disclosure. Like, I definitely feel it, but I think, back to what Corey was saying, I could definitely function, and I could definitely get work done.
Yeah, the whole point of it is supposed to be take the edge off, but don't like fuck you in the face or like give you couch lock, like that type of shit. Like, it becomes a whole event when somebody takes an edible, or a whole event when you smoke a J and you're just a zombie. And some people are like, oh, well, I have work in 20 minutes and I'm walking to work and I don't have enough time to smoke a J. Just take a hit off this. Like, that's the type of way that we fit into people's days and help them.
I don't know what you guys are thinking at home, but I think this is really compelling, and I'm proud that we live in an area, the DMV, where we have folks like Patrick who are actually trying to help people,
Thank you.
actually have good professional products that are regulated and manufactured and marketed, all these things. I would love to talk with you off air about how Listen Vision and WLBS can get behind this product too.
And also, I wanted to let you know, if you're able to share your story or your feedback on our website up in the, what is that corner, we will discount your first order $10 off. So if you scroll down to the bottom of that page and you take that survey, we'll take $10 off your first order. And looking forward to developing a relationship with anybody out there who thinks that this would help them solve their problems.
Go there. I mean, $10 off. It's really not that expensive. How much does this retail for?
The Nebula is only $59.99.
So if I give you my story, I get it for $49?
Yes.
You guys, are you serious?
And then if you and then a newsletter comes with a free cartridge, and those are $69.99.
You guys, come on.
So it's a free cartridge gift.
Listen, if you don't believe in this,
you gotta spread the love with the little heart right there. Okay. Anything that's by us is with hearts on it.
Come on, this is a good product. Go to cloudnllc.com. Go look around, see what you think.
Or come and talk to me outside of El Rey tonight, or the Elroy on Sunday, or Not Chalice on Saturday.
Do you ever stop by any of our cannabis shows here?
I stopped by one of your block parties, but I'm love to be back.
We'll have to have you back. Listen, you've been watching District Spotlight. My name is Jeremy Beaver. I'm the CEO and founder of Listen Vision. This is the Nebulositor, the Nebulizer, the Nebulus Infinitus, Patrick Docherty. Officially the weirdest thing that's ever happened on my show right there.
It's like the babies.
Cranky babies. Man, do they need this. No, seriously. Go to his website. Check out his products. This is District Spotlight. We love showing people who are trying to do something significant in the community. And stay tuned, because up next we have Freestyle Fridays, or just come on out, because we usually kind of let people siphon in for the first hour, okay? 2622 Georgia Avenue. We're at the entrance to Howard University. Please come on down. Spit some bars, written or freestyle, whatever. We're here. And thanks again, Patrick, for being on, man. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Glad to have an audience too.
CloudNLLC.com. Go there and come back to me next Friday at 5 p.m. for our next District Spotlight. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Washington, D.C. and worldwide, WLBS Radio and Phone Homie proudly present the Slab Hour. Make some noise!
What up? It's Scrogger with the Scrogger. Listen Vision Studios, listenvisionlive.com.
A shrimp and crab infused cheesy quesadilla.
Harvest these plants here.
Looking very green up here. I like it.
Thank you. Yes.
Annual National Cannabis Fest.
No, it was so much fun.
It was fun.
It's about guaranteeing people's liberty.
We growing good, we smoking good, and we eating good here in the District of Cannabis.
See, we do it big in Listen Vision. You never know who comes through, man.
Make sure y'all tune in.
Then it's understood the man, he's up to no good.
You getting pulled over by the new world order.
Add the white wine, and I'm gonna get a nice little sauce.
Shake it.
Cannabis, cooking.
Now you get to see it in HD.
We got a platform here, man.
Guys, she's also a stylist. Your underwear's supposed to be comfortable.
I say you a strong sister. Think about that.
Although we are all very different, we are all very much the same.
It was gonna hit and it switched, and we had to jump into the car.
Increasing your opportunity.
Because we're smarter, we're doing it differently.
What God has designed for you to do.